Hello, sweet friends. This is my morning face. This is my morning hair. Let's talk meditation. Oh, I look hilarious. That's great, though, because what I want to say about meditation is that we take it way too seriously. And the worst thing that we do is beat ourselves up about it. Like there is some kind of perfect standard. We have a lot of cultural ideas about what meditation is. It is the perfect silence of the guru. Okay, it isn't. It's great when we can experience that, but that's not the norm, and that's not the purpose of meditation, really. I like what Pema Chodron talk just as an image that she gives of, you see all these Buddhists in this Datun, this thing where they meditate for 30 days straight, like 8 hours a day, and it's grueling. And she's like, "You meditate like your hair is on fire." And, those people look like they're calm and serene, but there is all manner of chaos and insanity going on. And it literally is kind of like taking a bath. That kind of meditation can be like taking a bath in your own insanity. There are times like that. Okay, meditation in my little definition this morning that just came through so clearly is to just take a pause and check in and become aware of how energy is running through your body right now. And it's never wrong, it's never bad. And I am the worst culprit of all, maybe not of all, but of beating myself up before I even get to the cushion. Having a formal practice, a cushion, an altar, all those kinds of things are very helpful because they create a sense of self-respect, a moment that is removed. The word sacred means set apart. Give it a feeling of sacredness, intentionality. But those things can also be a distraction and help us beat ourselves up for not getting there more frequently. Or if I'm here, then it's supposed to be a certain way. I am going to take you into a state of what I believe is the most important meditation you can do. There are different, this was a focus in my master's degree. So I'm going to talk about several different kinds of meditation and the different purposes for meditation, different traditions and so forth. I think we can just kind of sum up that meditation, the definition of it is getting quiet and having an internal focus. We can say, I meditated on the sunlight. An artist meditates on a certain color. A mother meditates on the sound of her baby's breathing. Isn't that beautiful? That just kind of came through. So if you can, and no matter what you're doing, even if like my buddy Raymond, he's always working and he notices my video comes on, he clicks it and he's like, I'm working, but I got you in the background. Even if it's that kind of situation, you can still just first pay attention to your posture. Your body is the container of your experience. So it's about just kind of noticing that and having a little respect for it. And don't try to change anything. That's the very first thing I'm going to say. Becoming aware. Now, I'm teaching you inquiry right here. The inquiry method specifically trained in the diamond approach and the Ridwan school, if you want some big hoity-toity labels. Okay, but it's a thing, is what I'm telling you. It's not just my thing, it's this whole formalized thing, which has value because when you draw on a certain school of meditation, you are borrowing an established frequency in the field, and it helps to align your experience. So it's a helpful thing that this has a name and it's a thing. And it's also fine if you do your own thing and you have your own established kind of groove. There's tremendous value in just doing your own thing, okay? Not dissing that either. It's all good. See, we're kind of addressing ego even right now as we step into this place. Okay. So just take a deep breath. Let it out and just notice Where in your body do you feel aware of something? And just hold awareness for that for a few moments. And if you feel nothing, observe that and accept it and be with it. I'm feeling nothing right now. I feel a condensed feeling of being like a cake, and there's no thought, there's no feeling, there's no I'm just still waking up, whatever. Or I'm fixated on something. My mind is This is a really useful technique. How fast is your mind going? How fast are you going? And then imagine that you are running or walking or sitting or expressing that speed, and then match it with a conscious part of yourself. And then if it feels like it's just too fast, slow it down. It's like you're catching up to a fast horse, and then you're showing it the action of slowing down. It's just a technique. But anyway, just continue to be with where you are right now. What is the quality of your breath? I'm just going to throw you a few questions, inquiry questions, to help you locate your experience and be with yourself. What is the quality of your breath? Don't try to change it, just notice it. Is it shallow? Is it relaxed? What part of your lungs are you using? Does the air feel cool or warm? Has your mind popped in? What is it saying? Is there a need, a fear, a curiosity? What is the texture of the space that the thoughts arise in? What is the feeling in the room, so to speak, of your thoughts and experience? Here's another technique that's very useful. Picture your inner child. What is their physical position in space? Are they holding tension? Are they hiding? Do they not want to make themselves known to you? Are they feeling protective? Are they feeling silly and playful? Are they tugging at your sleeve, needing to tell you something? Take a moment to just observe and be with, and don't try to force anything. Don't fix or coerce or convince. As children, we had a lot of that. Be with your child. Observe. Allow. Simply witness and say, I see you, and that's okay. You can stay there as long as you'd like. I'm going to talk a little bit about the inquiry method and why I think it's so valuable and important and precious in this time. And then I'll touch on a couple other kinds of meditation. There's no place to go, there's no way to be, there's nothing to fix, there's nothing to change. With the inquiry method, you are not leaving yourself for a different place or experience. You're not seeking an experience. You're not trying to be better than you are. You're not reaching for some kind of ideal. There is simply the opening of the eyes of perception and listening. It's honing the skill of listening. And there's a phrase I've used before, I'll say it again in this inquiry teaching. It's not the content of your experience that you're after, it's the quality of the attention that you're bringing to your own experience that I think is transformational. I've experienced it as transformational and at times bliss inducing. If you do this for long enough and you pay attention with enough love and respect, gratitude, kindness, a genuine, non attached curiosity. Don't we love it when someone says, "How are you today? What's that like? Tell me more." Gentle, non judgmental inquiry. And when we can provide that for ourselves, we can begin to become aware that there's a wisdom, there's an intelligence that's operating under the surface at all times that makes perfect sense. I felt a jabbing pain right here this morning, and it came with a thought about my niece. I thought about her and I thought of this really deep process I went through yesterday because I had said something to her, God, maybe 13 years ago or more, that I have felt just terrible about ever since. And I got into my own experience. This is a great technique if you have one of those moments where you're just, ugh, some awful memory comes up and you have a patterned response at this point and you're like, ooh, push it away. I remember that moment I said that thing to that person. Ugh, you cringe. Well, if you want to revisit that experience and like transform it so that never happens again, here's a technique. Don't push it away. Allow it in and say, I'm going to get on my own side. I'm get on the inside of that experience. And I'm going to be inside myself at that moment that I said that thing. And I'm going to examine my motives, my feelings, my fears, my beliefs, my thoughts. Because when we're pushing it away, we're outside the experience. We're judging it. Ooh, look at that thing I did. And we're thinking about what everybody else thought. We have a fixed kind of like shell. It's like a scab around it that might not even be true. The way they experienced it might be completely different. It is completely different. It's them, it's their own thing. Maybe they were hurt for a different set of reasons and you've just never talked about it because it's just so icky. So there's a lot of unknowns there. We assume that we know everything about it. But when you welcome it in and you say, I'm going to get back inside. So I got back inside when I said that thing. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is where I was going with that. This is why I said this. These are the things I was feeling. And then because she was young and had a knee jerk response of, I need to get out of here. You know, the fact that she left my company suddenly, I made a lot of assumptions about that, about why she did that. But the main thing was that I got to be in compassion with my own experience. I got to revisit that and have compassion on myself for what happened. And it did transform the experience. And so when I thought about it again this morning and I had this jabbing pain right next to my heart, it's like that muscle where I'm holding something. That, I haven't explored it yet, but that is an example of deep wisdom in action. My body was having a response. My energy body, my emotional body, my mental body, I don't even know yet. but there's something in there that says it's painful to hold on. So I could take that deeper into inquiry and explore that, ask myself questions, but the listening is the skill I think that is the most important thing we can develop in meditation. We often put it with prayer and meditation. There's a quote that is attributed to Mother Teresa, although I don't know if she said this, but someone asked her, "What do you do when you pray?" And she said, "I listen to God." Imagine being in the waiting, the patience of listening, waiting for a response. If we think about a child, we would have patience for a child who's all like, and you're like, "Honey, what happened?" And you give them space to respond. Can we extend that patience to God? Okay, there's another half of the quote that is my favorite. And what does God do when you pray? He listens to me. Imagine that attentiveness, giving our attention, being present with an open heart and an open mind, and to the best of our ability, a quiet, waiting mind. There's a lot of trust in that. Okay, there are other different forms of meditation that I can talk about later. And if you have any requests or thoughts, or you want me to talk about something next in regard to meditation, there's also the whole realm of ritual and meditation, intentional meditation, manifesting meditation, gratitude, a lot of different, we can have an intentionality to create. There's a creative and a productive energy we can bring to meditation where we push everything else out and we have an intention, and it has kind of a yang feeling. And then there's the total yin, which is total listening, receptivity, which I've just described. And then there's the formalized Buddhist meditation, which can be kind of both, where you have an intention. They say not too tight and not too loose. You're sort of riding your experience, you're coming back to a breath. You're basically saying to your mind, you're not in charge. I know you think you are, but you're not. The ego, the judgments, constructs, perceptions, the endless, commentary. And having a single pointed focus, which they typically use as the breath. They say coming back to the breath. And when I talk about my remote viewing preparation meditation, I'm listening to that kind of silent hissing sound. Kind of, it feels like it's like right here in my hearing, in my brain, and I focus on that. And to have a focus that is something other than thought, that's the point of that. And you get into the quality of being. And you take this less seriously. It becomes more ephemeral, less substantive, and much less important. And there's contemplative Christian meditation, which is focusing on a verse or a word, allowing the Holy Spirit to give you a word, and then that word becomes your touch point. And you just repeat it every time you find yourself wandering. You come back to the word, and you allow the Holy Spirit, or the divine therapist, as Father Keating calls it, to work on you, to work with you. So, those are my thoughts on meditation this morning. You don't have to change your experience to meditate. You just have to be willing to become aware of it. And that could change the world. Have a great day.